We obviously need to do more examples of what we did yesterday. But I always like to, so in the real world, believe it or not, you would have a situation where you want to figure something out, so you make observations. When you make observations, you can create an equation that relates to the observations you made. So if there are 3 things you don't know, you want to make 3 observations. You set up the equations, and then you can solve for whatever is going on. Are you guys semi with me here? I mean, until you do it, you don't really understand what I'm talking about, but it kind of, you see the idea. Equations model real-life things. That's what they do. If I have equations that model the relationship between several things that could change, I need more than one of them to figure out a certain situation. I mean, to solve for the variables. All right. With that said, what I like to do is I like to start with an answer, create a system that has that answer, and then solve it, because then we already kind of know the answer ahead of time. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? So it's good for learning. It's not what happens in the real world. We don't start with the answer and then make a problem. That wouldn't make any sense. But it's kind of nice to see and to know ahead of time what the answer is supposed to be. And part of me also likes showing you from the other end of things, how do you create a problem that has a certain answer? Right? Because I do that all the damn time. I don't know if you've noticed. I just make a problem out of nowhere and the answer comes out nice. Right? If I just put a system of equations up, I guarantee you the answer is going to be disgusting. So there's got to be a way that I create problems, right? So somebody help me out. Give me a nice like integer number, negative, positive, just nothing crazy. -2, that's great. Now somebody else, give me another number. 4? Somebody.
6.
1. All right, sorry. I don't know why I got excited on 1. So let's say this is the answer to this system of 3 equations. I mean, that's what the answer is going to look like. It's going to have 3 parts to it. Let's say that our variables are A, B, and C, just to change things up a little bit. X, Y, Z is totally arbitrary. Let's call them A, B, C. So let me start us off. I'll start us off with an equation. Let's say that A plus B plus C. What is that? What should I put here so that's an answer to it? Yeah, because -2 plus 4, 2 plus 1, 3. So let me kind of get us started. So like, what if I said -2A plus 3B minus C? Oh, shit. See, even this is a decent little problem. Can you take a second and don't say anything out loud? Try to figure out what number would go here. Let's see, so negative twice.
17.
So -2 times -2 plus 3 times 4 minus 1. Yeah, so this is
16, 17.
This is 4 plus 12 minus 1.
15.
So 16 minus 1, 15. So that would be 15. You guys semi with me here? Mm-hmm. Now, technically, how many answers does this first one have? It has infinite number of answers, right? Because if that's 3, what could B and C be? Anything that makes 0. So I mean, so every one you give a value to, the other 2 have an infinite number of possibility. Oh shit! So it's like a infinite number of answers. All right, I'm not trying to freak you out. But what is one answer we know for sure it has? That one, right? And then this one also has that as an answer. I like it. All right, let's make one more. You guys help me out. What do you want to go here?
4.
4A?
6B.
Ooh. Plus 6B minus 3C. I like it. Thank you. I love it. All right, now what the hell's going to go there? Everybody cool with the fact that I can't just put whatever the hell I want to there? Because then there's no way I know it has this answer. So let's see, that would be -8, right? Plus 24 minus 3. 13. All right. So now we have constructed a problem. So we're all teachers. You have created a problem that you know has a nice answer. If I just wrote these, just making shit up all the way through, I'll bet you anything the answer is like 1.777719. Yes?
Why is it negative 13?
Why is it? It isn't. What happened? Why is it not? Huh?
Never mind.
Okay, sorry. So this is an equal sign, yeah. Not a negative, yeah. Thank you. All right, so let's do this one together, and then I'm going to let you guys try one I'll grab out of the book. All right, so we go into this knowing what the answer is. Good Lord, I took up a lot of room to write this. All right, so let me do this. I'm going to write over here. A plus B is C, negative 2A plus 3B minus C is 15. 4A plus 6B minus 3C equals 13. Okay. Everybody's got that written down for yourself? You all playing along? Do I have any erasers? Yes. Okay. So, what would the matrix look like? And then negative 2, 3, negative 1. If you were not here yesterday, you're like, oh my God, what the shit happened yesterday? You're in the matrix now, Mr. Anderson. Okay. The name is Neil.
4, 6.
4, 6.
Negative 3.
Negative 3. 13. The name now is John Wick. Catch up with some shit. All right. So, the nice thing about this is once you see what you do, you keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. So once you see it, you got it. Because no matter what this shit's there, you're going to do the same thing over and over and over again. It's until you see that, you're a little lost and you think every step is different. I'm doing the same thing over and over. By hand, without a matrix, this has a certain way to do it. You pick a letter, kill it twice, you remember all that stuff? Here, what's the whole kind of mode of operation, or what do I want to have happen? I want zeros. And we can be a little more specific, what's my goal going to be?
1, 0.
And then just numbers here, right? Because then I would know A equals B equals C equals, right? Let me stop there for a second. Okay. So that's something we do a lot in math is there are examples where the problem in equation form is next to impossible to do. But if you translate it to like a graphical form, it's easy. And then you translate it back. So very often in math, we transform a problem into a different form, and then that kind of gives us a different way to look at things. Here, now I'm looking at numbers and making zeros. That actually is a nicer thing, and I just keep doing that. Keep doing it. Over here, it's kind of like, which ones do I want to pick? And oh my God, where do I put that? And oh shit, it's a little more vague. Here, which row do you want to start with? I mean column. Which column do you want to start with? Doesn't really matter. Normally start with this one, but sometimes it's better to start with something else. So as long as you pick a column and finish it before you move to the next column, you'll be always fine. You won't lose zeros. So people that make a zero here and then make a zero there and then make a zero over here, you're going to start like losing zeros. It's going to be that whole whack-a-mole thing. Oh shit, oh shit. Right, if you go column by column, you're not going to lose zeros. Yes?
On your blue diagram, does it matter which order you start?
To be honest, no, it doesn't. It's just that if it's exactly like this, I know that this is A, B, C. You know, so if this was -2, 4, 1, then I know A is -2, B is 4. If you have the rows out of order, you just got to be careful about which letter they reference, right? Why is this one C? Because it's A, B, C, right? Out of order is okay as long as you're careful about which one means what.
Is it always just going to be like alphabetical order, like X, Y, Z, A, B, C?
Yeah, points by convention are alphabetically ordered unless stated otherwise.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought we saw an example like that before. Anyway, that'll come up again. So if we start with this first column, which is a good place, again, especially because there's already a 1 here, right? Even if there wasn't a 1 here, could you make zeros? Yeah. Right? How do I make this a 0 using this row? What would I do? Multiply this by 2, and then add the 2 rows. So sometimes, if I'm not careful, I'll make it seem as if you have to have a 1 before you move on. What's your real goal? Make zeros. Do you need a 1 to make zeros? No. You with me? But if I have a 1, yeah, I'm going to use that shit. So how would I use this 1 to kill this -2? I have to multiply this row by 2. Let's see. Are we able to handle? Let me do more writing than I normally would, just for this first go round. All right. So if I double row 1, what's it look like now? 2, 6. And then everything else stays the same. All I did was double row 1. I want to get you guys to a point where you would feel sort of like, well, why the hell would we write that we really didn't do anything? But right now, I just want to make sure everybody can see what's happening. Why did I double row 1? Just to kill that. So once that's dead, does he need to stay doubled? No. So that's why I developed that little shortcut I did. We don't really rewrite the matrix. All right. So now what am I going to do? I'm going to do the whole reason I freaking did that is I'm going to add row 1 to row 2. I'm going to put the answer where?
In row 1. Oh, row 2.
Row 2. For 2 reasons. Not just because that's where 0 should be, but also because I don't want to lose this 1. Because it's useful. And why is making zeros such a big deal? Because what's it mean when I make a 0?
Take out a variable.
You kill the variable, which is really the whole idea of doing this even without a matrix, is killing variables, right? The only good variable is a dead variable. All right, something gets better. So, add these together, put the answer in row 2. So 2 minus 2, 0. 2 plus 3, 5. 2 minus 1, 1. 6 plus 15, 21. I like it. All right. And like I said, the only reason this guy was doubled was to do what we just did, so he doesn't need to be doubled anymore. So let me take him back to what he was. Okay, so now that I've done that once, I'm going to try to introduce my little first level shortcut. The less you have to rewrite the matrix, the quicker the whole thing is, right? But the less comfortable you are, the more you should be like, all right, it's going to take a while, but shit, I don't know what's going on. And then rewrite it, right? Remember also, I do have on the back of that one with the 9-1, I do have a whole problem with all the little steps in the middle. I have people that do this on the side, right? That's fine. Just want you to know that the less you have to do that, the quicker the whole thing is, but right is better than fast. Okay, so now what do I want to do? Which column am I still working on? First one. It's not done yet, so what's not right? Stupid 4. Yeah, how do I use this to kill him? I gotta... Yeah, so take -4 row 1, add it to row 3, put the answer in row 3. I like it, because you don't want to lose your 1. 0, that's where you want it to be. Hey. I like that reaction. It is. How did you know that? So now, so here's the little shortcut. So instead of rewriting the whole matrix, I could have just put 2, 2, 2, 6, and just went straight to there. That's the whole idea of this little shortcut. So now I'm going to put next to this, -4 times this. So that would be -4, -4, -4. -4 times 3 is -12. So let me tell you this right now. When I go to grade a problem like this, I look to see if you understand the process you're supposed to be using. There's so many flipping places to make a stupid little mistake. You leave the negative off this 12, you are screwed, right? for the problem. As far as grading, I might take points off for that one mistake, but then I'll just see, do you know the process to try to keep going? So you'll get most of the points if you know the process. Okay? So here, what am I going to get? Negative 4 and 4? 0. Negative 4 and 6? 2. Negative 4 and minus 3? Negative 7. And negative 12 plus 13? 1. Say again? Why do I add? I could subtract, but then you got to keep that minus sign in your head. I'd rather make things opposite signs, so I'm just doing exactly what I see. I don't know if that makes sense. So I could. All right, just because you asked the question. Let me answer it this way, and then I'll answer it better. Because that's how these are going to cancel.
So you're doing like plus 4 on everyone?
Yeah, I multiply everything by negative 4. Do you see that? I multiply row 1 by negative 4. And now I'm going to add it to row 3 because that's going to make a 0 show up here.
Okay.
And that's what I want. I want a 0 there. I could have multiplied this row by 4 and then this minus this, but then you see how that minus I have to have in my head. Here I can see everything I'm working with, right? So make sure that these are opposite signs. So then you're adding. You don't have to keep that minus in your head. Yes?
In row 2, why does it go from 21 to 2?
I don't know. Just because.
Oh, okay.
The one off. Bam. Thank you. All right. And of course, that last row changed because we added these rows. I mean, there's a really good example right there. I would have been screwed if it wasn't for you. Thank you. Okay. So now you move to another column. Which column looks a little bit better to work with? Why can't I, let me make this real good. Why can't I use that 1 to kill that 5? Couldn't you multiply this by negative 5 and add it, and wouldn't that make a 0 here? But then you would lose the 0, wouldn't you? You don't want to lose zeros. We did a lot of flipping work to make a 0 show up there. So somehow I want to use between these two, I want to kill stuff, right? So which column seems to be a little easier to work with? Which column? Which column? The third column, because I could just multiply this by 7 and kill that, and I can multiply this by negative 1 and kill that. So I can now shift my attention to this column. So it doesn't matter what order you do the columns in. Just make sure you're done with one, and then you move to another one. Every time we're working on a column making zeros, we are killing variables, right? They deserve it, those little things, unknowns. Yes?
So are you telling me the objective is to get to like that top blue column?
Yep, that's our goal. That's what we're slowly working towards. See that first column looks good now, right?
Yeah.
1, 0, 0. So now I just need to work on either one of these. Why are we going to work on the third one? Because there's a nice 1 I can use to kill some other shit. Okay, I like it. Yes?
So we're going to use the first and third column.
No. All right. This is the first column, second column, third column. This is the first row, second row, third row. Yeah. So I'm going to work on this column. I'm going to work on this one. I'm going to make it look like this. Everybody all right? What's going on? You okay? All right. Yes.
Are you sleeping?
All right. You just look concerned. So what can I do? So I want to use this one to kill everything around it. Okay? So what can I do? So how can I use this to kill this one, for example? Multiply row 2 by negative 1.
Yeah.
I like it. So you take negative row 2 and add it to row 1 and put the answer in row 1. I like that. Because I'm trying to kill that. Okay. Here we go. So, if I negative, so that would be negative 5. This would be 0, negative 1, negative 21. So that's negative row 2. And now you just add those two rows together. What do you get when you do that? 0 plus 1 is?
0. Oh, 1.
1. That's all right. That's all right. Don't worry. But thankfully, we didn't lose that 1, right? Negative 5 plus 1 is? Negative 4. Negative 1 plus 1 is? 0. I like it. Negative 21 plus 3 is, again, all kinds of negative 18. All right. Stop there for a second.
Are we doing the second one now?
Hold on, I just stopped there for a second. All right. So now we did one column. Then we said, which column is the easier one to work with? And we said that one. Okay, let's move to that column. So now I'm just focused on that. Right? So what do I do to kill this negative 7? Multiply this row by 7. Right?
The second one?
Yeah. Because if I could, why don't I want to use that one to kill this? Because if I multiply this by 7 and add it, I'm going to lose that 0.
Yeah.
So I don't want to use that first row for anything right now, because it's going to lose my zeros. I don't want that to happen. Yes?
So we're trying to keep like as many zeros as like possible, or?
Yeah, every time you make a 0, you shouldn't have to do something that makes it not a 0 anymore. If you are, you're sort of going, and that's when people get caught in this infinite loop.
Yeah.
You make a 0, you make a 0, you make a 0, you're like, what the hell? You're doing it to yourself because you're trying to do too many. Just focus on one column. All right, and remember, this is almost too nice to believe. The zeros happening means we're killing variables, which is the entire idea over here. It's just that when I make it look like this, I can then really focus on what's important, making the coefficients the same, just opposite signs, right? So I can kill them, right? So I'm done with these here, right? I can cross these out. Why were these here? Just to make that happen. So how do I kill this negative 7? Yeah, so if I take 7 row 2, add it to row 3, put the answer in, it doesn't really matter, we'll put it in row 3. I like it. In this case, it doesn't. I don't want to lose that 1, so it's a good idea. 7 times 0? 0. 7 times 5? 35. 7 times 1? 7. 7 times 21? 147. I like it. Don't freak out. So now, 7 row 2 plus row 3. 0 plus 0 is 0. 35 plus 2 is 37. 7 and negative 7? 0. 147 and 1?
148.
Right. Let me make sure that, yeah, okay.
But yeah, 2 rows there.
All right. And what's the second row still?
0, 5.
I like people that sort of check in every now and again. I like that. What? It's like how I do a baseball game. I'm like talking to people. What's going on? What inning? All right. Yes.
So for the goal and what it's supposed to look like, it's okay that for the
Yeah.
middle column is
Yes,
still
I love
assigned.
it. You ready? You ready? For one reason, Carrie had a good question earlier. It doesn't really matter what order these are in at the end, but another thing I could do, I could just flip these, right? Could I just flip these? Yes, totally. What would that be equivalent to over here? Changing the order of the equations? Does that change anything mathematically? No. I like it. All right. So what's interesting about this row here? Okay, let's do this first. Well, look, what can I do to make there a 1 here? How would I make a 1 here? Divide by 3. See how I killed the other two things? Now's the time you just divide by whatever's left, because you're going to make a 1 there, right? Thank God 37 goes into 148 4 times. All right, so let's see. If I take this row, and I divide this row by 37. Let's see what that looks like. So now the first row is the same, second row is the same. Last row now looks like 0, 1, 0, and 148 divided by 37 is 4.
Oh,
Now, real quick, what does that last row say? What column is it? This is the
Third row.
A's, B, C's. This is A's, B, C. So this says B is 4. All right, cool. All right, so far we're doing good. Oh. Now somebody pointed out that these two rows are like in the wrong, so just switch them if you want to. All right? Where should that middle one be? Should be right there. So you just switch the rows. Again, switching rows. Not a big deal. It's just like changing the order the equations were given to you. Doesn't change the answer. All right, so if we want to make this its own little step, sure. 1, -4, 0, and -18. Switch the rows. So 0, 1, 0, 4, 0, 5, 1, 21. Now that middle row, as a math geek, that middle row is exciting to me because it's ultimate laser. It's got a 0 there and a 0 there. It will not screw with anything. It will just mess with the middle shit, right? And isn't that the last column I need to do stuff to? Mm-hmm. So how do I kill that -4? Multiply row 2 by?
1. -1.
How do I kill that -4? What do I want to have here? +4. So I got to multiply this row by 4. And that, what's 4? 0 times 4? 0. 1 times 4? 4. 0 times 4? 4 times 4?
16.
All right, so let's see what happens. So we're going to do, what do we say? 4 row 2 plus row 1. Put the answer in row 1. And I know, are you good? I know there's people out there right now that are like, but do some of you guys notice we keep doing the same thing? So on one level, it's either like, I don't understand this law, and then people normally transition immediately into, I keep doing the same thing over and over. Shit. Yes?
I just can't read. What are the little letters?
I know, I'm getting small down here. So let me rewrite this. Okay. So if I just switch those 2 rows, switch this row and this row, so now it looks like this. So all I did was switch the rows. Is that cool? But now I'm going to do this. Why am I doing this? Because you want to use that one to kill that -4. So if I multiply that middle row by 4, what happens when I add those together now? 0 plus 1 is 1. 4 minus 4 is 0 plus 0 is 0. And 16 minus 18, -2. And now, so I'm done with these, right? Why were these here? To kill that guy. He's dead. All right, let me cross those out. I'm really trying to show you some shortcuts, because the most frustrating thing is writing the matrix over and over and over, and you're like, I ain't got time. Well, how do I use this 1 to kill this 5? Multiply by -5. So if I do -5 row 2 plus row 3, that'll kill this. So really all I'm doing is I'm focusing on the middle. What's wrong with the middle? That's supposed to be 0? Okay, we did it. That's supposed to be 0. Okay, we're about to do it. How am I doing it? Multiplying this row by what's needed to make a 0 above and below. That's all. So that's the part that I say, keep doing the same thing over and over. It takes this kind of ambiguous shit and then it makes it into a recipe of how to get there. So I multiply this row by -5. That's still 0. That's -5. You write this bigger. That's still 0. -5 times 4 is -20. What's 0 plus 0? 0. -5 plus 5? 0 plus 1? -20 plus 21? And the middle row is still, you can't really see it, 0, 1, 0, 4. Did we get the right answer? -2, 4, 1.
Yeah.
So David Blaine. Yes.
So we're just like canceling out like variables over and over again.
Yes. Which is really what we do by hand with this. It's just the matrix makes it a lot, just strips away to its most basic Make zeros. Ones are nice, they help you make zeros.
So,
Go ahead.
the second row, when we were back with this, switching it up to 0104, and we times it by 4, that was a 4 there. Where did the 4 go? Because did it become a 0 then?
No. So what do you mean? This 4?
Yeah.
I divided this row by 4. Back. Why did I multiply this row by 4? Just for a minute, just to kill that one.
Right.
Do I need it still multiplied by 4?
But
No.
it's still
So I
4.
brought it back to what it was.
Oh, you brought it back to it.
So that would have been 4 and 16. I would just divide by 4.
Okay.
That's why
You gotta bring it back to
I
what
put
it
these
was.
in little parentheses.
Got it.
This is what the row would be
Got
if
it.
I multiplied. I don't really need to multiply by. I don't need to change it. I just need to know what the number would be to kill the other dude.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Is this all for one problem, right?
Yes. Now I could give you my old man walking uphill both ways and tell you, well, you know, in my math class we had this was one problem with all these people. So personally, I think this is not much, but there's something called math stamina that a lot of students are lacking. Dallin, go ahead. What's up?
What is it?
Say again?
That's not my question.
What?
I just wanna know that.
What's stamina?
Oh, alright, never mind.
All right.
Endurance.
So math stamina is the ability to endure through an entire problem.
I just wanna know what all chapter, like what chapter this is.
Section 9.3.
Okay, gotcha.
Say
I
again?
don't know what I'm trouble. Can I use the calculator?
All right. You guys know me by now, I would hope.
Maybe.
Right? Your calculator is not taking this class. I will show you how to get the answer out of the calculator, which is a really great way to check the work you've done. If you just tell me on a test or something, I pushed these buttons and got this, then your calculator gets a good grade. And you get a shitty grade. Right? Yes?
How many problems are we gonna have on the test?
Like 18. No, obviously,
That's serious. Killing the forest.
obviously, I can only give you one of these. I mean, come on. But there are a lot of steps, so it's not going to be something you want to skip, right?
That's all I
It's
want.
going to be worth a decent amount.
I think if we did this, we're gonna pass the test, right?
Huh?
Would you want to use a matrix for this? Or like on
So there's going to be a problem on the test that's going to say, solve this without using a matrix.
Oh,
And then normally what I do is I say, solve the same thing, because now you already know what the answer is going to
Can
be.
you show us a sample?
using your matrix.
It's simple.
Wait.
Without the matrix, can you show us?
Oh, okay.
By example.
Yes, I can show you another example. In fact, we can redo the same one.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
You know, without a matrix. Is that what you guys are excited about?
Yes.
Okay.
How
Huh?
about a more easier one?
All right, we'll try this one.
Well, before you go, the last, so your final answer would be -2, 4, 1.
Yes, I love it. So just like that. You're right. So yeah, you're right. I could rewrite it. So this is the way you would write your answer. Or you could write your answer as A equals -2, B equals 4, C equals 1.
Got it.
Either way, they both mean the same thing.
Are you going to show us how to do it on an Excel spreadsheet?
No. If we had enough, if the college had enough money to have computer classrooms everywhere, I would probably be teaching a few different courses in different ways. Because Excel spreadsheet usage is a really good skill by itself to have, right? And there's a lot of stuff we could do on there. But can I guarantee that everybody has easy access to Excel? No. So, no. Don't have to do that. Yeah. All right. So let's, any questions on the matrix stuff up here? Besides, wow. So yeah, normally you want to turn your paper this way when you're doing a matrix problem.
That is hard.
Then it's still the same dimensions. But okay, whatever helps. Turn it on its edge and right on the side. Okay. Now, there's a difference between a problem being difficult and a problem being long. That's a long problem. But each step we did was not difficult. If I just, real quick, if I had, blah, 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 who cares? How could I kill that 3? Yeah, for some reason I had to kill that 3. I would multiply row 2 by negative 3 and then add it to row 1. Was that difficult to think of? No. How do I do it? Well, I just do what I just said. Multiply this row by negative, negative 3. And then add it, right? Mm-hmm. So every single step where we do that, each one of those steps is easy. What very often students do, and I feel bad for you, is you just cannot see that one thing. You see everything. And I'm like, once I get it all written on the board, you sit back and you go, holy shit. But every little step we did was relatively simple. It's the same thing we were doing before. How do I kill this guy? Well, I got to make this a negative 3, multiply by negative 3 then, and then add it together. Right? So that by itself is simple. And that's what I just keep doing over and over and over.
So when you add the rows, like you do row 1 plus row 2, you always put the answer in the second. Like when you row 2?
It depends on, is there something you want to keep in one of the rows? Right? Or where's there 0 supposed to be? Okay. I like it. Yes?
So when you're doing these, do you prioritize getting zeros or
Who can answer that? What's the most important thing?
zeros?
Making zeros. Ones are nice because they make it easy to get zeros.
Did I try it yesterday on homework? And
Watch.
left and
I'm with you. So what if I had, let me see. Let me make some example real quick.
Can we do one without any ones?
Yeah, I'm about to. And then who cares about that? So let's look at those 2 rows, right? Who cares what the last row is? Last row is no help. So let's say I wanted to kill that. How would I accomplish that? Multiply the top by negative 7, and then this by 4. So do you need 1s to make zeros? We've never needed 1s to make zeros. Just if there is something that has a 1 coefficient, that kicks ass. So would you rather, remember doing this by hand, so if I had this, why is this kind of nice? What would you do first? Multiply this one thing by 2, right? But if I did this, you have to multiply both of them by something, but is that difficult? No. Or if this was a 1, then just multiply by 2, right? So 1s make it really easy to do what I need to do. Do they make it, like, is it impossible to do without 1? No, we've done that shit before. So what I do here, the same thing I would do here. I multiply this by negative this, and this by the other dude. Negative 7 and 4. Then they're both negative 28 and 28. One of them dies. I make a 0. That's the most important thing. You never have to make fractions. You don't have to divide this by 4. Can you imagine how this, oh shit. I'm really good at math. I could do this. I don't want to. I'm not going to because I know I don't have to. So don't force a 1 to show up and make all these fractions. There's no need to do that. You guys understand? 1s are nice. 0s are the goal. Okay, so it's a good question. So it sounds like a lot of you guys want to remember how to do this, but without a matrix. So help me out. If I look at the A's, because they're kind of set up to die, how would I, between these things, how would I kill the A? If I took the first one and multiplied by 2, right? 2 times 1 plus 2. You guys with me? Mm-hmm. So 2 row 1 with 2 times this first equation is 2a plus 2b plus 2c equals 6. If you look back at your matrix thing, what's the very first thing we did? What was the very first row in that first step we took? Wasn't it 2, 2, 2, 6? All right, holy shit. So what we do with the matrix is exactly the same math as what we do here. It just looks cleaner. I don't have to write all the variables every damn where. And then second equation is this. So when I add those, I get
5. 3, 6.
1.
Oh,
5, 1, 21. Do you guys see that in your matrix? Like the third step?
Oh yeah.
Okay, and this is equation number 4. Now, what do I have to do now? This way, what do I have to do? I killed A once. I better kill A again, right? And you can do that 2 different ways. I can either multiply this by -4, or look at how this is already opposite signs. Let's just double the second dude. He's already opposite signs. So if I take twice the second dude plus the third dude, so what's twice the second dude? -4a plus 6b minus 2c plus 30. Right? That's twice the second dude. What's the third dude? Positive 4a plus 6b minus 3c equals 13. So if I add those together, 12b minus 5c. Now you're not going to see this in the matrix because we didn't have to do this in the matrix. We have to do it without a matrix. This is the whole idea. Kill a letter twice and then use those two. You guys kind of with me? But in the matrix, it sets things up so I can look at it a different way. I don't have to get you don't see 12, -543 anywhere. We didn't need to go here using a matrix. But now what do I do? This is my 5th equation. Now what do I do with those 2 better equations? Why are those better?
Because you get mad.
Less unknowns. I love it. Only 2 variables, not 3. What can I do between the 2 of these?
Kill the C.
Yeah, because that's the C with a 1. See, the 1s are nice. If that wasn't a 1, if that was a 3, would it be impossible to keep going? No, I could do it. So 1s are nice, not necessary. Why are 1s nice? Because they're the easiest things to work with. Become an 8. Okay, I'm an 8. Right? If I got a 3, become an 8. Not easy. You know, don't want to do that. Or maybe. That's why 1s are nice, but you don't need them. Don't force them. Don't divide and have all these fractions. Oh my God. So here, what would I do to kill this? Let me write. Here's the 5th one. 12b minus 5c equals 43. What do I do to this dude? Yeah, multiply by 5. I like it. So now this one looks like 25b plus 5c is 105. All right, this is older news, so hopefully this looks familiar. So here we get
37.
Do we have a 0, 37, 0, 148?
Yes, 4 times.
Yes! Doesn't that sound familiar? See how math is like, all right, dude, it's the same shit you did before. If you want to do it this way, feel free. And I'm not saying that's bad to do it 2 different ways. I'm just saying the math is the same. It just looks different to us when we write it as a matrix. So here we go, B is 4. Woohoo! Once you got B, you plug it back in to get C, right? I'd plug it in over here. So if I use it here, if I rewrote the 4th one, 5 times 4 plus C equals 21. 20 plus C is 21, so C is 1. And now that I got B and C, I can plug it back in here. A plus 5 is 3, so A is -2. I get my -2, 4, 1. Okay, maybe. Now this, people prefer. Why? You're much more used to working with equations directly than you are. How much time have you spent working with matrices? You're like, how much time were we here yesterday? Right? I mean, so obviously, if I suddenly had you guys using kilometers and decimeters and centimeters, would you be happy people? No, because you live in America, the only country in the earth that doesn't use those things, by the way. And we didn't grow up with it. So of course we'd be like, screw the metric system, they suck. No, they only suck because we're not used to it. Matrices only suck at the moment because you're not used to it. I'm hoping some of you guys see that they make things easier. Can you imagine, again, if I added one more equation and one like D, A, B, C, D, without a matrix, you'd have to pick a letter, kill it 3 times. Then pick a letter out of those, kill it twice. Holy shit. Every time you add another letter, this method gets stupid long. But what would I do if I had a matrix that has like 1, 3, -1, 4, 6, A, B, C, D? 2, negative 1, 4, 5, 9. Negative 3, 4, 5, 2, 1. I just go, okay, let me multiply this by 3, add it. Let me multiply this by negative 2, add it. So, and I don't care how big this gets. It doesn't get very much longer. There's only a couple more things to do. I have one more column to worry about. Who cares? Not a big deal. I'd have to give you one more thing, actually, because I have 4 unknowns, but oh well. Okay. Woo! Believe me, this is not supposed to be immediately easy. In fact, almost every damn thing you do in college is not supposed to be immediately easy. If you have a teacher that has it happen, they're probably not doing the right thing. Right? I have colleagues that make things way too easy. Fill in the blank for this test. Yeah, I'm calling you out. And then they don't learn shit because they're just filling in stuff that's already half done for them. That's not good. Supposed to be a little difficult when you first do it. Of course it is, like anything. I'm not going to pick up a guitar and suddenly, oh my God, that was natural. And I believe me, I lived this. I'm like, okay, music is not immediate to me. Trust me. Okay. Let me think. So let me give you guys a little one to work on right now, and then you need to come with your questions from homework. So you guys try to do this. Try to solve. Here, let me start you off. This is going to be a little 2x2 system. Oh. There you go. So x minus 5y equals 11, negative 2x plus 3y equals negative 15. Solve that using a matrix. You must use a matrix. Still going. Answer should come out nice. Just to remind you guys, if you still, so tell me, what's the first thing somebody's doing? What are you guys doing? What's your goal here?
1, 0, 0, 1.
And then numbers. So it kind of makes sense to start with the first column. Right? So what are you guys doing with that? What are you guys doing? Multiply row 1 by 2. I like it. Add it to row 2. Put the answer in row 2. I like it. Now again, so if you need to, you can rewrite the matrix, put double row 1 in here. So when I'm showing you the little shortcut that I do where I put them in parentheses, that's not me saying you must do it that way. That's just me saying, here's a little shortcut. Use it if you feel comfortable. If you want to rewrite the matrix, double that row, bam! That's fine. And now add them. What's 2 and negative 2? 0. Negative 10 and 3. Negative 7. 22 minus 15. Positive 7. And then bring this back to 1, negative 5, 11. Right? So the way I was showing you earlier, I would not have written this middle step. I would have put 2, negative 10, 22, right? I'm not saying that you have to do that. I'm just showing you that as an option to make it a little quicker. Quick sucks when you're not comfortable with what's going on. How's everybody on that first step? Yes?
I put the answer back in row 1.
Ah, okay. Do you see why? I really want you to see why that, because I could put the row that I get anywhere, because it's better than any other equation. But I really don't want to lose that 1. You see, so that's kind of what tells me I want to put it in the second row. Because I don't want to, if you put it in the first row, you lose this 1. Yeah. Which is not the end of the world, because 1s are nice, but still, that's the way I'm going to choose to go. If I have a choice. Now what do you do?
What I did,